folks, it all comes down to this. Week 11 of the high school football season in Northeast Tennessee. Southwest Virginia shaping up as well. We'll have all the action for you from Week 10, and we'll talk about Week 11. Joining me as always, Andrew Smith, Brian Woodson. I'm J.D. Vaughn. Jeff Birchfield with us in spirit today. But no worries, we got you covered right after this message from Lazy J Farms.
Lazy J Farms has been raising the finest cattle and all-natural pork for 3 generations on the family farm in Fall Branch. Their blonde Aquitaine herd offers a leaner, healthier, and more tasteful beef. And the butcher shop is local, farm to table, and 100% authentic. This is the way your grandfather shopped for me, with steaks cut to order, quality assured, and ready to ship to your door. Open Thursday through Saturday on Bloomingdale Road in Kingsport. Come see us.
Well, West Ridge gives it a good fight at Science Hill. The Hilltoppers ultimately pull away, winning 28-14, a game that was huge in terms of conference standings. West Ridge will make the playoffs, but they will be traveling for the first round. Science Hill does have a chance to get a home playoff game this week. Brian, once again, West Ridge tried to control the tempo, and for the most part they did, but Science Hill just a little much.
Yeah, Science Hill just made some good play. Their quarterback, Lane Clement, threw for 140 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was really efficient. He also ran for a touchdown. Malik Anderson ran for 109 yards, so they had the running game going too. Westridge had the running game going too. Ethan Amos had 200 yards, and Justin Hilton had 63. They also had a key fumble that hurt them as well. It was 14-14 in the third quarter, and then Science Hill scored the last 2 touchdowns. But Westridge is still having a hard time getting over the hump, beating Dobbins Bennett and Science Hill, but maybe next year they can get them.
Well, they came pretty close this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of getting over humps, Dobbins Bennett did finally get over the Bearden hump. It's not quite maybe the playoff revenge DB might have wanted, but Dobbins Bennett goes to Bearden, gets the win 34-7 in a game that was a whole lot closer than that, because Bearden led 7-0 in the first quarter. It was 7-7 entering the fourth quarter. Dobbins Bennett scores 27 unanswered points. Luke Lundy runs for 97 yards, which is the statistical high for anybody offensively. That's the most yards anybody accounted for. Emmett Starnes a couple of touchdowns, a scoop and score by Kedrick Harris, and Levi Chappell. Dobbins Bennett finally started airing it out a little bit more in the fourth quarter. Levi Chappell hits Jalen Thomas on a fade route, 20-yard touchdown back of the end zone. Dobbins Bennett finally able to kind of pull away from Bearden, but kind of a frustrating night overall. Even Joey Christian talked about the penalties, including what he calls mouthpiece gate, something about one of his linemen being warned and then eventually receiving a flag for taking out his mouthpiece and then calling out signals or calling out plays or something, and then putting his mouthpiece back in. The official sees him, warns him, and then next time it's a 5-yard penalty. So I didn't realize that was a rule, but you learn something new every day. But anyway, Dobbins Bennett 8-1 enters the top 10 this week. They're ranked 10th in the 6A poll. The Indians get the win. Speaking of big wins, Andrew, the Hawkins County Super Bowl, maybe the most anticipated one ever. And in terms of scoring, it certainly did not disappoint.
Yeah, no, if you like the points, the Hawkins County Super Bowl was your game. A 55-33 final. Cherokee gets their 4th win in a row in the rivalry. Jaden Weston just continuing the strong season he's had to this point. The area's leading rusher went for 257 yards and 3 touchdowns on 26 carries. Getting it done, as they would say. But he wasn't alone. Landon Jeffers also had a really good game as well. 5 total touchdowns, 3 running, 2 passing. That last passing one just kind of felt like the cherry on top, if you will. It was a flea flicker late in the fourth quarter. Something that when I talked to Landon Jeffers after the game, he mentioned was just installed this week. But a little flea flicker to Lofton Hayes, put him up 55-26, and just kind of jubilation began a few minutes early in that one. But, Volunteer, did some good things on offense. They had a couple big splash plays, especially early in the ball game. But, once the middle of the third quarter hit, it was really Cherokee starting to pull away throughout the rest of that one and locking up the 3 seed in the 4A playoffs.
Yeah, what a game. And both teams going to the playoffs. First time ever that Cherokee and Volunteer are going to the playoffs in the same season. Imagine that. And both teams have been playing football since 1980. They've been to the playoffs, but never in the same season. That changes this year. Meanwhile, speaking of rivalry games, David Crockett gets the win in the Musket Bowl. First time it's beaten Daniel Boone in back-to-back years since winning 3 straight from 2000 to 2002. So we're talking almost a quarter century since David Crockett has had back-to-back wins over the Trailblazers. But they get it done this week. Zeke Sloan accounts for 3 touchdowns, runs for 2, and then throws one to Chase Taylor on a little halfback toss. Ruben Ibarra-Flores, the solid kicker, with a 42-yard field goal. Zeke Sloan and the Pioneers outshine Drew Fleming and the Trailblazers. Daniel Boone, unfortunately, knocked out of the playoff picture with this loss. David Crockett very much in the playoffs with this win. So a huge win for the Pioneers, not just from a historical standpoint, but now they're going to the postseason. That's guaranteed. Even if they're traveling, so what? You're in the postseason. Anything can happen this time of year. Well, Andrew, another rivalry. They say to beat a man, you got to beat the man. Hampton beat the man, as in the defending region champion Cosby. Hampton 1 win away from that region championship. Some guy named Isaiah Belcher. A pretty good game, I would say.
Yeah, good game for Isaiah Belcher on the offensive side of the ball. 114 yards rushing, 3 scores. Really led the Hampton offense on Friday. It was a 30-12 win, and they had Hampton and Cosby had not played in I think 5 years. I think 2020 was their last meeting before this past Friday, and no love was lost, to say the least, there at Cosby. Felt like anytime these two teams play, they really do not like each other at all. Things got a little chippy in the post game, but if you're Hampton, you're able to move past it. They're going to clinch a home playoff game for the first time in 2 years. Last year they made it, but had to travel, and at least a share of the Region 1-1A championship. At worst, they'll end up in a title with Cloudland. We'll talk more about that later. But, just a big win for Hampton. Kind of your last road hurdle to clear. Tough environment, but they were really able to handle their business. Showed a lot of maturity in the way they went about that ball game.
Well, they're in the playoffs. Even Michael Lunsford told me that one of 2 scenarios: Hampton will either be home at Happy Valley on Thursday night, or possibly if Cloudland is on the road for the first round, then Hampton could potentially use their field for the first round of the playoffs on Friday night. So one of 2 possible scenarios there for Hampton in the first round of the playoffs. Brian, you followed this game really closely. Chilhowie gets the win over Rock Cove, one of the few teams that gave Rock Cove a game last year, and this year they did a little more than that. What did you see in this game?
Rock Cove had beaten Chilhowie the last 2 years, and Chilhowie is a very proud program and a good program, and they really wanted to get this win. They came out, played really hard, really stuffed the Rock Cove running game, but they really had a hard time getting going. Although they still outgained Chilhowie, they just could not get the run game really going where they could get a whole lot of consistency throughout the game. Chilhowie made a couple of big plays, especially in the passing game, which continues to be a problem for Rock Cove. So Chilhowie was able to pull. Rock Cove got within 18-14 in the fourth quarter, then Chilhowie just ran clock and then scored at the end to pull away. But this is a big win for Chilhowie. Rock Cove, this is their first 2-game losing streak since 2021, but they played 2 really good teams in Eastside and Chilhowie. But they lost Jacob Jesse, their quarterback, to an ACL 2 weeks ago. So they pulled a Taylor Shoup, Tyler Shoup, who does a good job, but he's more of a running quarterback, and they're going to have to work a little bit on expanding the offense a little, because pretty much, honestly, both teams know what they're going to do, and they just have to focus on stopping it.
Sure thing. Just a big game there for Chilhowie. Elizabethton definitely not looking ahead. The Cyclones get the win over Seymour, 42-14. Big game for C.J. Mathis, back-to-back big games for him. The Wallen cousins, Jaden, Jay-Bird, of course, Justice, and Zach, their usual impactful games. Freshman quarterback Bryson Blevins, another solid game for him. Unaka and Cloudland, of course, the Highlanders, them not looking ahead either. Cloudland gets the win 55-0. A big game for Walker Googe this time. Walker Googe, of course, a big part of that backfield, consisting of Bryce Birchfield, the quarterback, and then running back Grayson Cole, who was and then Landon Barnett as well. So just a big 4-headed rushing attack there for Cloudland, and it comes through again against Unaka. Providence Academy. How about this? The Knights get their inaugural conference win. They win 62-0 over Chattanooga Grace. Ty Pure, a freshman running back, 271 yards and 4 touchdowns. So big shout out to Providence Academy. They're going to the playoffs in Division II, Division II Class A. And then Sullivan East comes up short against Northview Academy 63-21. And that's going to wrap it up for Week 10 of high school football. We'll talk about Week 11 right after this.
Lazy J Farms has been raising the finest cattle and all-natural pork for 3 generations on the family farm in Fall Branch. Their blonde Aquitaine herd offers a leaner, healthier, and more tasteful beef. And the butcher shop is local, farm to table, and 100% authentic. This is the way your grandfather shopped for me, with steaks cut to order, quality assured, and ready to ship to your door. Open Thursday through Saturday on Bloomingdale Road in Kingsport. Come see us.
So many good rivalry games to choose from, but our game of the week is for the 104th time. Dobbins Bennett and Science Hill get together. The 10th ranked Indians 8-1, the Hilltoppers 7-2, once beaten in the league. It's the 104th meeting, this time in Johnson City, but back on campus at Kermit Tipton Stadium in Science Hill. So, if Dobbins Bennett wins, it's simple. The Indians are the number 1 seed. Maybe not so simple after that, because Jefferson County and West Ridge, their game also kind of significant in this. But for Joey Christian, you don't want to leave it to tiebreakers, and even he said, he acknowledged, Dobbins Bennett has to get off to a better start. But, the camaraderie of this rivalry, it's a rivalry where the kids know each other. It's not like when you're playing a Knox Central or something like that. These kids know each other. They played against each other. It's about 2 communities respecting each other and hating each other for just that one night. That one night with everything on the line, and they go all out. That's what this rivalry is all about. Joey Christian very adamant about that, having been a part of this rivalry for more than 2 decades as a part of the Dobbins Bennett coaching staff, both as an assistant coach and a head coach. And Stacy Carter, he was very complimentary of his quarterback, Lane Clement. Obviously, his stats may not jump out at you, but the way that Lane Clement was able to improvise on more than one occasion, go off script, as he says. His ability to do that could be the difference in a Science Hill win or loss.
They'd been able to run effectively against you, but in the fourth quarter, man, when it mattered, your boys really stepped up last week.
They stepped up on those 4th downs, and I thought the West Ridge, I thought Justin had a great game plan. I know they didn't throw any. Sometimes you get criticized for that, but I thought they did the perfect game plan for to keep us off the field. I think we had about 45 total plays, and we made a few mistakes on some drives. But as far as our defense, yes, we bent a lot, at first, but we were able to make those big 4th down stops, which is hard to do against them. They had one big sustained drive, and then they had the one that we let him get out of there on. So, and that's happened against about everybody. So, I felt like we made the plays we had to, and definitely got nervous sometimes because they did a great job of doing what they were doing. But we hung in there and got the win.
And of course, Dobbins Bennett quarterback Levi Chappell over the summer led the Indians to that 7-on-7 tournament championship at ETSU. Now, what does that mean this year? Well, we'll find out. Levi Chappell gave a very good first impression the last time he played in Johnson City. Of course, that being at ETSU over the summer, and pads were not in effect then. Still, Levi Chappell, Joey Christian has said it more than once, done a phenomenal job of leading Dobbins Bennett's offense. He's more than just a game manager. He is a leader. So the symmetry of these 2 teams starts at quarterback, no question about it. And both teams, regardless of, yes, it's 2025, but both teams like to run the ball. Luke Lundy and Emmett Starnes for Dobbins Bennett. Of course, Nalik Anderson and Aiden Perry for the Hilltoppers. Just both teams will try to establish the run and line of scrimmage. Even Joey Christian said it many times. 6A football is a line of scrimmage league, and that's going to be no different at Kermit Tipton Stadium this Friday night. Winner take all, 104th meeting between Kingsport and Johnson City. And Andrew, speaking of rivalries that go back a long way, a rivalry that goes all the way back to 1969, believe it or not, Happy Valley and South Green. The Warriors, of course, on the road at Rebel Hill. The winner of this game is number 1 in Region 1 2A. The loser's number 2. Simple as that. What does Happy Valley got to do here?
Big game here. You look at the past handful of years, even though Happy Valley leads the overall series, the past handful of years have been dominated by South Green, 5 of the last 6 for the Rebels. Happy Valley looking for their first 1 seed, their first region championship since 2016. They've been competitive. They won ball games, but they have been the 1 seed in the playoffs since 2016. And in order for that to happen, I think, in my opinion, it all starts with their defense. This is a strong defensive unit. They're averaging just 6.1 points per game allowed this season, and they have shut out their opponents 5 times, including the last 3 ball games. They have not allowed points since September 26th, going back a little ways. And just then, it was 6 to Thomas Walker. So, shame, I know. But yes, I think for Happy Valley, it all starts on defense. You look at the South Green team, 2 of the top rushers in the area, Trip Neese, Nash Rader, both spearhead this Rebels backfield. Nash been a running back for the past handful of years, made the transition to quarterback. Hasn't been much of a drop-off for the Rebels here as of late. And you look on the other side of the ball, it all starts with Gabe McDougal, Keelan Relaford, and Lane Parker for the Warriors. That's your 3-headed monster. They've gotten you this far, and those are the guys you're going to be leaning on in a region championship game like this.
Yeah, big game going on Rebel Hill this evening. Then another game going on in Greene County this evening. Elizabethton on the road at Greenville. Both teams 8-1, 6-0 in the conference. This is a 1-game showdown for the number 1 and number 2 seeds from Region 1 4A. Elizabethton with a slim lead in the overall series, but Greenville has won the last 3, of course. Cyclones' last win coming in the quarterfinals of the 2021 playoffs. That memorable 13-7 upset at Burley Stadium. Tonight would almost, just given the circumstances, would probably almost would be considered an upset. I mean, it would have to be. Freshman quarterback Bryson Blevins, this will be his first true test, as you can imagine. Greenville quarterback Caden Ball, and it's no secret who his favorite target is, the Tennessee Vols commit, Zayden Anderson, a record-setting receiver for the Green Devils. Caden Ball also leads the Green Devils in rushing, so, I mean, what can't he do? These explosive Green Devils, Elizabethton has to take that 2021 quarterfinal strategy, keep the ball away from them. Pound the rock, work the clock, shorten the game. That's what the Cyclones must do. Establish the run with guys like C.J. Mathis and the Wallen cousins. Air it out when you need to. I mean, you've got guys like Zach Wallen who can make big plays, Jack Blevins and the like. But if you're Elizabethton, you got to control the line of scrimmage and you've got to control the clock. And you got to keep Greenville on the sidelines because, barring a defensive touchdown, they can't score if that offense is on the bench. That's what the Cyclones have to do in order to have a chance in this game. Brian, West Ridge, you got to think they'll have to do likewise as they head over to Jefferson County.
Yes, they will. Jefferson County's been playing really well. Their only 2 losses are to Sevier County and somebody.
Dobbins Bennett.
Dobbins Bennett.
And they led 14-0.
That's right. And they beat number 2 ranked 5A Powell a couple of weeks ago. So they're a talented team. They can run, they can throw. So West Ridge will just have to keep the ball out of their hands the same way. Give the ball to Ethan Amix and let Justin Hilton run the ball some. They need to find another option because I know we're in the 10th game of the season, but after a while teams start focusing. They know what's coming. You just have to stop it. And so far nobody's been able to stop Ethan a whole lot. But it'll be interesting. But they're going to have to, like I said, keep the ball away from Jefferson County because they can throw and run the ball.
Yeah. You're going to hear the name Jackson a lot of Jefferson County. Donovan Jackson, the sophomore running back, and then that senior wide receiver and quarterback combination, Mason Henderson, and the explosive Sean Jackson, who actually scored both touchdowns against Dobbins Bennett that night. West Ridge, like you said, pound the rock, kill the clock. Andrew, speaking of pound the rock, we're going to be seeing a lot of that on Roan Mountain Friday night, Hampton and Cloudland for potentially the region championship.
Yeah, this is how you want this game. It's going to be cold on Roan Mountain tomorrow night. Both teams playing for a region championship. It's Hampton and Cloudland on Halloween. If you're from Carter County, this is what it's for. This is what you envision this game looking like. And you look the last meeting. It was 2 years ago. Obviously, they didn't get to play last year due to Helene. It was a Hampton, pretty convincing win, 50-6. I think Cloudland remembers that pretty well. A lot of that coaching staff was there 2 years ago, so those players were there 2 years ago. They they did not take too kindly to that. So, this to me is going to come down. Can Cloudland slow down the Hampton offense? The Hampton offense has been firing on all cylinders, especially in conference play. You look at it, Hampton's averaging 44.7 points per game. That's went up in conference play. They're averaging right at 51 points a game in Region 1 1A. That not many teams have been able to stop them. Cosby probably done the best job of slowing them down. But in order to do that, I think the usage of the quarterback run will be key. I think for both teams really, but especially for Cloudland here. Bryce Birchfield, I was there a couple weeks ago. He was able to really establish the run all by himself early in that Sunbright game. And when I talked to Zach Benfield after, he was like, "Yeah, Bryce has shown and earned our trust to be able to run the ball like that." So I think for Cloudland, you have to be able to have that dual threat ability of Bryce Birchfield to be successful in this game. Try and keep the ball away from that potent Hampton offense a little bit. And if Cloudland gets in the 3rd and long and they have to throw the ball, look out for Jalen Burleson, edge rusher for Hampton, top sack man in the area, athletic just like his older brother Dom was, just on the other side of the ball. This will come down to the run games, you would think, and both teams certainly have their fair share of quality runners.
What do you think, kid? I don't think this ball is going to be spending too much time in the air.
Probably not.
On Roan Mountain Friday night. Johnson County on the road at Unicoi County. The Blue Devils trying to, just finish the regular season strong. There's only, if they win, it's simple. They've got the number 2 seed and they've got a home playoff game, Unicoi County that being, of course. It'll be senior night for Mr. Do-It-All, the quarterback Colby Jones. Avery Hatcher, wide receiver, and then Blaze Rice, both of them juniors, just having breakout seasons, so they'll need to keep that up against a hungry Johnson County team led by solid running back Juan Mejia, who didn't get to play in this game last year. So you got to think Mr. Mejia is going to come into this with clear eyes and a full heart for the Longhorns. Brian, real quick, Rye Cove, they'll be at home this week with a conference game against Burton, and then you will be at Gate City. They'll be at home against Wise Central after a bye week. So what are you looking for from these games?
First of all, Rye Cove, they were 1-24 against Burton until the last 3 years. They won 3 in a row. Burton's won one game, they've won 3 games this year, but those 3 teams have only won 1 game. So I feel like Rye Cove should be able to run the ball pretty well, get their running offense going again, and finish up their regular season home schedule by rolling past the Raiders. Gate City, they've been playing really well. They've only got 2 losses to really good teams, and now they're going to with Union and Dobyns-Bennett. Since then, they've really rolled, and they're averaging 41 points a game in the games they've won. They should be able to handle. Wise has 1 win over Marion, who hadn't had any wins, so they're really struggling right now. So Gate City should be able to do what they want in this game and roll to a win as well.
Yeah, establish the run, man. Yeah, the Blue Devils with a solid backfield, and I don't expect anything less from Legion Field on Friday night. Other games going on: Twin Springs, a conference game Thursday night at Thomas Walker, Cherokee at Northview Academy, Sullivan East on the road at Volunteer. The Falcons trying to finish strong before they go on the road to the playoffs. Tennessee High on the road at Daniel Boone. These are Friday's games. Tennessee High at Daniel Boone, Cott County at Crockett, Providence Academy playing host to Zion Christian, and then Unaka on the road at North Green. That's going to wrap it up for week 11 of the Six Rivers Media Sports Huddle. For Andrew and Brian, I'm J.D. Vaughn. Get out there and enjoy some football, because some teams might not have it next week.
Lazy J Farms has been raising the finest cattle in all-natural pork for 3 generations. Our blonde Aquitaine herd offers a leaner, healthier, and more tasteful beef that ships from our store directly to your freezer. This is the way your grandfather shot for meat, only now we wrap it, seal it, and send it right to your door. We have plenty of options to pick from, and they're all fresh and natural. Just visit our website at lazyjbeef.com and choose your package. We'll get it straight to you.